anyone else feel like shit? Or is it just me? Or is it just me? Because that's the way that it seems sometimes. When you feel like garbage, there is this beautiful, mysterious way that the people around you have of looking like they're doing way better than you. I have a commitment to coming on here twice a week and making a video, which I try to do. But lately it has just been so difficult because I feel like trash. And most of it is for physical reasons. I just like do not feel good. Those of you who are familiar with my channel probably know that I have a chronic illness. I just feel like awful, horrendous. I don't have fancy words for it. And a part of me is like, well, if I don't feel like I can show up and be optimistic or be entertaining, then I shouldn't show up at all. But I feel like I watch videos of people that are talking about what they're going through when I want companionship, when I want to feel like somebody understands, when I want an element of relatability. So I'm like, maybe I still have something of value to contribute by talking about being in this slump and not feeling good. Part of what's upsetting me is I feel like I push myself so hard to get these videos out, and I push myself so hard to write for my blog and maintain these commitments, because I know that even just for myself, if I don't show up regularly, then I'm just not really gonna have anything to show for myself. I'm not really gonna have an outlet. So it's important to me as an individual to show up, but then simultaneously, the fact that I get like such little reward, it seems like, or such little validation for the work that I put in, you know, and I hate when people complain about that, because here's my thing. Sometimes I'm watching a channel and they're like, oh, I'm shadow banned, or YouTube hates me, whatever, and then I'm like, girl, shut up. Just do better. Or sometimes I'm like, well, you didn't post for the past 6 months. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? So I'm not gonna do like a whole thing where it's like, you guys don't like and you guys don't comment. So I'm not gonna do that. But what I mean by that is like, it's hard sometimes when I physically cannot keep up with the demand of the algorithm, and then the algorithm is like, oh, you slipped up? You're gonna get negative views on your shorts for the next 12 years. Like, are you serious? And so then I'm sitting here and I'm like, great, now I'm gonna have to make a bunch of bullshit shorts to get back in the algorithm to where the algorithm is even considering me, because they're not going to recommend my shorts even though they're really not that bad, because I'm not active enough on shorts for them. Maybe I don't have something to make a short about every day. Is that okay? Is it okay if I don't have something to make a TikTok, reel, YouTube short about every single day? Is that okay for Meta? Is that okay for Google? Is that okay for whoever the hell owns these platforms? I can't keep track of it anymore. It's like I'll be like dead and on the couch like fighting for my life, and I'm sat there thinking about at the same time like, I gotta make a short. I gotta make a short. I gotta post a short. I gotta post a short if I want to get out of the hole. And it's just annoying. And I'm like, okay, what would make this better, this lump better realistically? When I sit there and I actually have a think about it, and I'm not just like wallowing. Like last night I was like crying and I was like, ah! Because there are reasons why this is intolerable. I've been having fevers again. If you guys don't have an autoimmune condition, the best thing that I can compare it to is the flu or something. You know how when you have the flu, it's not the same kind of tiredness as when you're just sleepy. It's not the same. It's like every move you make, you're like that's how I feel. I feel like a pathetic little mouse girl. I feel like a pathetic little mouse girl who can't do shit, and it is bringing me misery. And when I start getting stressed about one thing, the smallest things start to agitate me and make me panic. My room is like a dust magnet. It's actually crazy. I'll pick up a dust bunny off the floor next to my day. It's back. And I don't know if you just heard my arm go. That's what I'm talking about. And then I'll already be stressed and I come in my room and I see that damn dust bunny on the floor again, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't bend right now. And so then me and the dust bunny are just mortal enemies, and we're looking at each other. That song where it's like, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and he looked at me and I looked at him. That's me and the dust on my floor. I physically, every time I bend over, I come back up like an old person. I'm like, girl. Oh. I'm 22 years old, asthmatic, nerve damage. I think I have arthritis. Like the bones of my feet and my knees keep snap, crackle, popping like freaking Rice Krispie treats. So just to put it in perspective, I imagine that if you had a permanent flu that waxed and waned in intensity, and you were also a highly ambitious person who saw no results and who needs accessibility and accommodations when you go certain places. Imagine being like that. Imagine having a body that is so opposed to you, but having a personality that needs to be everywhere all the time doing everything. That sounds like hell, right? And that's the way I feel. But anyway, realistically, if I were to be giving advice to someone else, because I don't even want to think about giving advice to myself, but if I were to be giving advice to someone else or to you who is in a similar position to me, even if you don't feel physically unwell, it'll probably still apply. I would be like, you have to push yourself as much as you can tolerate. So maybe it's not about pushing yourself to get the whole thing done. Like when you don't have energy, sir, you have to make cuts, or your body's gonna make the cuts for you. And it's gonna decide, okay, I can't do this. And I think what would also help probably is planning, because I get in this brain fogged state. Like I'm already yawning and it's 11:48 a.m. and I didn't even wake up a full 2 hours ago. What? I'm so sleepy. I feel like planning would probably help, because if you can't think of ideas, if you were to write down a list of ideas when you have a moment of clarity where you can actually think straight, you should take advantage of that, and you should just write down a bunch of ideas, like even copy people. Like this is like the worst shit. I'm like, steal from others. No, but if you see an idea that someone else had, write that down, and then when you go to make it or when you go to use it, then you can like adjust it and like change it around to like fit you. And then the winter too, I'm somebody who really needs to spend time outside, so I would say more advice for getting out of the slump is spend time outside, but that's not easy when the outside is a freezer and it's also torrential raining like half the time too. So how am I supposed to sit outside? And you know what else makes it horrible? Where I live, I have no shade to like people who are just trying to be nice and like have a conversation with me, I guess. But when I go out, a lot of times I have to talk to people and give them, they'll ask about my health or something, and me saying, oh, I'm just hanging in there. Sometimes that's not freaking good enough, and then I gotta sit there and wait for them to give me advice. It's like there's all these burdens on my energy, and people don't mean to be a burden on my energy, but it's just sort of every time I go out, I also feel like people are watching me, because where I live, once again, people are upsettingly aware of me. And I find out weeks later, they're like, I saw you on January 3rd at 2:42 p.m. I'm like, God damn, why are you watching me? Why are you like stalking me? Like, that kind of makes me not want to leave my house. And days when I really don't feel well and I really feel like upset, like it's really hard to think to myself, well, I have to put on a brave face, and because there's a bunch of people that are probably going to talk to me right now. So my point is that there's a lot of different things compounding why I feel horrible, and I guess that the only solution is to just not care. Like that's it. I don't even know if this video is going to have anything of value in it, because it's really not even just like straight up advice. It's not just offering like a rundown or a list of value to the viewer. That's not always authentic, and I feel like, why should I have to give up, or why should I have to not show up? Like, why should I not make anything because not everybody's gonna like a video of me like talking and bitch. I mean, I watch videos of people talking shit and bitch. It's very real. So I guess I'll try to get out of it, but I mean, the more that you fight it, the worse that it is. So there's really only like so much you can do. You have to find your threshold and don't exceed that. So push yourself to the edge of your threshold, but if you go over that limit, it's just gonna make it worse. So I don't know, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And let me know down below if you also struggle with feeling like low energy and crappy or whatever. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Bye.